"We're going to see Greaves's widow," said Lonsdale, barely looking up to acknowledge Milner's kind thought. "Are you sure that's wise?" asked Milner soberly. "Hulda says you were almost killed there yesterday. Moreover, the killer's still free, and he may try again." Lonsdale disagreed. "We fought because I was trying to lay hold of him. It was a chance encounter, and not one that will be repeated." "I'm not so sure," said Milner quietly. "Doesn't it strike you as odd that, with the entire police force looking for Iverson, he hasn't been caught? And isn't it peculiar that you and Hulda are the only ones bothered about linking these odd deaths? And didn't Superintendent Ramsay tell the coroner, the police surgeon, and Inspector Peters not to bother about Walker and Greaves?" Lonsdale looked up at him, feeling his eyes gritty from tiredness and dust. "I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me." "That Iverson, said to be insane by some, might not be mad at all, but following orders from a senior officer." Lonsdale frowned. "You think someone in authority is involved in a business that involves Greaves being poisoned, Kath's cut throat, mysterious meetings, and missing cerebra?" Milner shrugged. "I cannot answer, but the whole affair is very odd." Lonsdale continued to stare at him. "What made you come up with this? You said not long ago that it was not going to be important. Now you say there's a conspiracy." Milner was sombre. "You've been down here all day, so you haven't seen the latest reports from the news services. There was a report from the Exchange Telegraph that caught my attention. Here. Harry Cannon, aged 14, mysteriously disappeared in the fog last night. While walking along the river to his home in Limehouse, accompanied by his brother and sister, he sat down near the Shadwell Dock stairs, promising to catch up with them. He was last seen speaking to a man described as being short, strongly built, with thin hair and a long uneven beard. A search has been made along the river, but nothing has been seen or heard of him." "Your workhouse lad described a man like that, waiting in the background while his friends were enticed away," said Milner, when Lonsdale had finished. "And now read the addendum to the report which was released an hour ago." Cannon's brother and sister were not concerned at the time, as when their brother sat down, the man in question was speaking to a police constable. They did not see the policeman's number, but stated that he was a large man with a scar above one eye. Lonsdale decided that 6 o'clock was the best time to call on Mrs. Greaves, a time when most of her daily chores would be done, but before she had settled down for the evening. The city was busy, as people finished work and travelled home. But it was a pretty evening, with a clear blue sky and the sun casting long shadows. They alighted from the hansom, and Lonsdale set a brisk pace to Mermaid Court. It was even less attractive in the cold light of day, windows broken and patched, and the roof pitted with holes. The walls bulged precariously, and the whole place was in such terrible condition that Lonsdale wondered if it should be condemned as unfit for human habitation. Inside, the odour of urine, mildew, and dirt made Lonsdale want to gag. Even Hulda's brazen confidence wavered when they stepped inside. Moisture oozed down the walls in a fine green film, and the floorboards were dark with filth. A dead kitten lay on one step, its bedraggled fur matted with blood. Rats skittered in the shadows. The little corpse would not remain there for long. "Come on," muttered Hulda. "Let's get this over with." Her jaw jutted purposefully as she made her way towards the stairs, hand on the gun in her bag, acting not so differently, Lonsdale thought, to some desperado in the American West. It was not easy to reach the top floor. The banister had been stolen, and the stairs were rotten. Some were missing altogether, revealing a drop to the floor below. As they rose, the stench became increasingly foul, as overflowing chamber pots stood on each floor, presumably to save the residents the trouble of going down to the communal latrines. Each floor boasted 6 rooms. Lonsdale peered into one and saw a filthy floor and walls with mould. There were at least 5 people asleep there. From another came the sound of heavy breathing, as a couple snatched some desperate pleasure. Hulda faltered, and Lonsdale pushed her gently to urge her to continue. "Close your eyes and think of England," he whispered. "If I close my eyes, I'll fall and break my neck," she muttered, then gave a sigh of relief when they reached the top-floor landing. "Here we are at last. Now where?" The rooms in the attic had no doors, but some privacy was granted to the tenants by filthy blankets, which were pinned over the frames.